Hey, welcome to yet another episode of Sitecore Tech Talks. I know it's been a while, but this time we are going to have Urjita Bochare. Urjita is a business analyst and has around 10 years of experience working in multiple domains, specifically into, she was into marketing and, helping clients out with different things. And at the same time, a business analyst role as well, and has worked on multiple CMSs. But her primary focus from last 5 years has been Sitecore. So she has been a BA on Sitecore, working on Monolith as well as on Composable right now. She's working as a BA specifically on a project which involves XM Cloud, Order Cloud, Discover, and all the other composable pieces of Sitecore. Let's see what we learn out of this episode. Cheers. My dear Sitecore friends, so in today's episode, we are going to talk to Urjita, and Urjita works here at Horizontal in the capacity of BA. So let's hear from her and let's learn from her overall experience as a BA and also on various Sitecore projects. She has been working on different type of Sitecore projects. So even the paradigm shift that we have from monolith to composable, she has been a part of a couple of such projects. So let's hear her experience and learn from it today. So Urjita, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And let's start, with the basic question that who is a BA?
Sure. So, Varun, I would say that, a BA, as the acronym says it all, that a business analyst, right? They work in the capacity of understanding what the business needs are for any of the project, right?
Sure.
It is always said that a BA is more of just documenting things, but that is not true. That doesn't seem true, or that doesn't stand true in many ways when the actual projects go on in life. BAs can hold various hats. They can be like the client communicators. They listen to the clients, what they say. They try to capture each and every detail that a client mentions,
Right.
in their discussions, when they are sharing their thoughts, when they are explaining what the product or their expectations from the end product is, right? So BAs are very good listeners. They are very good communicators. They need to be very good at their documentation, because they have to bridge a gap. They have to bridge a gap between the clients and the tech team, right? So it is essential that whatever documents they present, or as a BA we present, should be in the capacity that, it is understood and approved by the clients. So it should be used in a manner that is understandable for the clients, but it should also have that tech understanding, so that the technical team is also able to grasp the details and do the development.
Right. So, so can I say BA is kind of, the third leg of a three-legged stool? Where we have the
Absolutely,
client,
yes.
technology team, the implementation partner per
Correct,
se,
correct.
and the BA is between the two.
It should be considered that way, yes, I would say.
Right. Well, in that fact, because we are talking of projects and implementations, where does a BA fit into in the project lifecycle?
I would say BA should be considered in each and every phase of a project lifecycle. For example, if you say that there are three main phases of a project, right? Maybe considering it from the discovery stage,
Correct, yeah.
from moving to the design stage, moving to the implementation stage, moving to the deployment or go live stages. BA ideally should be kept as a part of majoritarily first three stages. Why I would say this is that if a BA is working in full capacity or understanding the client requirements from the first phase the project starts in, right, from the discover phase, then they are trying to grasp each and every information that the client wants for the end product. They are able to map what can be listed for MVP. So they are able to source a document which will be efficient for the tech team to use for providing the estimates.
Sure. I think I'd like to just pause you there. You mentioned about various project life cycle stages,
Correct.
and then you also mentioned one point called MVP.
Correct.
Uh, can you just elaborate a little bit on those stages of the life cycle and what do you mean by an MVP?
Sure. So, as I said, majoritarily there are 3 phases that each and every company should use, or majoritarily they use. First is the discovery, right? The discovery is something where the clients are engaged with the business managing team, the strategist, who are able to get the details out from the client. There are also obviously technologists in there so that they understand what technology the client is currently using.
Yeah.
But considering the business analysts in the discussions, they should be able to provide suggestions around what type of technologies can serve the purpose that the client is looking for.
Okay.
If I give you an example, is that if I'm going to a discussion for a client who is currently using Drupal in their website, okay, if we see a need that they are really happy with the customizations that they get with Drupal, but they are having some issues with certain upgrades that Drupal keeps on having, then we can suggest them that they can come to a product like XM Cloud, which is a SaaS-based product. It is headless. It doesn't need any upgrades. So those kind of suggestions can be given from the business perspective. This is like a really like a very, very small example, but
Yeah.
in such discussions, those kind of details can be shared. We have huge presentations that we do during discover phase, which we grasp the information, we get interviews with the clients, and then we share a good presentation of what they can use, how they can use, what kind of technology shifts can they do, etc.
So you mentioned something called interviews. What is an interview, and how does it link with your discovery phase?
Yeah. So as a BA, it is very essential to get each and every information, right, from the client. For that, we try to do certain different types of activities with the client stakeholders. One part of it is interviews. So there are different stakeholder interviews that for that we list out the questions depending on what stakeholders we are talking to, and then we conduct these interviews so that we get the right amount of answers. And because if we see that the client has an existing website, okay, they have huge amount of details in their website, right? To get everything out from them, it is not a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right? They won't be able to share everything at the first stage of discussion.
Agree.
You will have to ask them the right questions, and a BA is able to do that with the experience and the learnings that a BA should have.
Sure. You mentioned something called MVP. What is an MVP?
Yeah, it is it is called the most viable phase of the product. So whatever we feel that not we feel, but what the client sees as a primary requirement, okay, as their for their product. If, for example, the client has a huge website, okay, but they have some restrictions on their budget, okay, so maybe we can suggest them that go phase wise. Okay, maybe for the first phase, which we call MVP, we can get you these level of products which can get your website up and running, your business getting started with whatever information you have on the website, and then slowly and gradually we'll come with the other phases of the release.
Sure.
Kind of. So the website enhances in a certain way, and the client doesn't have to bear a lot of budget crunch on the first release itself.
So can you give an example of like an MVP release and then phased releases which could have gone in your experience?
Yeah. So I think one of the use case that I remember is about a client who came up with a requirement to have a website developed on XM Cloud. They had a requirement to include personalization with XM Cloud, and they wanted to move their product to e-commerce. So obviously the requirement was huge, and overall, when we discussed it in the discovery phase, it came out to be a 18 months huge project. What we suggested them was that first of all, because they had a requirement to get their website out, their brand out, what we suggested them is that just get your website out with whatever branding you need, and we suggested them that we do it in 3 phases. We do the first brand website in first 6 months using XM Cloud. In the next 6 months, we enhance it to include the personalization rules. So whatever marketing and other target audience that they want to drag in, they can do that using the personalization. And the third phase, we moved them to Order Cloud, where they actually got the shop on the website and started, so everything helped in there. First of all, the branding, then the marketing, and then actually grasping the audience.
Right. So I think from a technical standpoint, I would like to put it this way, that of course, you can have the whole benefits at the end of 18 months, but if you kind of divide it into parts, you start getting the benefits earlier than later.
Correct.
And just get your content, like you have a redesign and stuff. So
and
you
you have your digital footprint out at least. Yeah. So that way it helps.
Sure. All right. So let me, let me just frame this question a little differently. How does a BA add benefit or prove beneficial to a Sitecore project per se?
So I think based on the Sitecore projects, I would say that Sitecore has been in the market since quite a while now, and we are as a BAs, it is essential that you are aware about the product, because we know Sitecore well. We are able to define the documents in the right terminologies, right? Which helps the technical team in major aspects. Like for example, we know that how the components or the page templates work in Sitecore, or how they can be composed to create a page, right? So we try to define them with the tech team as renderings within the documentation that we provide. So if we are drafting as a BA, if I'm drafting a document, I'm preparing a business requirement document, I'll start doing it with obviously the use cases that we build in, but I'll also try to list it out with right amount of field requirement details, or component related details, or break down a particular component into multiple forms or parts, so that it is easy for the tech team to develop it and what I would say,
implement it
in the right way, kind of. So it is and at the end of the day, we want to make the life easier for the technical team when they actually start development. Kind of.
So I think one of the things which I remember is, I've been in various conversations with you and other business analysts. So I remember that if it is a client conversation, you will say component.
Yeah.
But when you will be in a tech team discussion, you will say rendering. So I know those two hats that you all wear. So yeah, I get your point there. But then when I look at as a BA, your overall processes would remain same. But what additional would you do from the understanding of a Sitecore implementation specifically on a monolith? That is the old technology paradigm that we used to have.
Yeah. So with regards to Sitecore, I think because they have predefined rules, the documentations have to be created in a way that we did suggest the teams that we have the requirement for building a header, a footer. There were integrations, there were customizations. Everything should be done into a system within Sitecore,
Right.
like the UI, the like all type of requirements that we got. Everything was jotted down into individual documents, and the whole aspect of that was that drive everything from one system. Okay,
Right.
bring everything into Sitecore and just deliver it on the website.
Yeah.
That's how the documents used to happen that way.
So now I think this is a great comparison, because now this is what you used to kind of jot down and put it out to the technical team when it used to monolith. But now in composable, how has it changed?
Well, the architecture hasn't changed much. The only thing that has changed is that you don't need to do everything in one system.
Right.
Now you have that capacity that, no matter how many systems are there, you can all bring them together with APIs. You can play with several connectors, everything.
Yes.
And the documents should include these details. We include that level of details, that what systems, what integrations should be done per component, so that the tech team is aware that where are we coming from, right? So that way, the composable documents differ. For
Fair point. I was, I think, expecting the same answer. That is the reason I asked you this question. All right. Well, I think overall, I can very well say that having a BA on a project, how it helps and what all benefits it adds, because there is a lot, which is reading between the lines, which I think would be difficult for a technical team member to know, versus a business analyst can identify those things and ask the right questions at the right time. Urjita, to end this conversation, I would like to ask.
I think, sorry to interrupt you, but we missed to talk about the third question that you raised with me. It was something related to the other phases of development.
Yes.
Which is I just wanted to mention that, because the second phase that we talk about is design. Just a quick thing about it, that within the design phase, it is only not the designers who are developing or designing a UI for the client. It is essential if the business analyst is also reviewing those, so that if there are any misses, or if there are any, because we have cases where a designer designs very excellent designs, okay, but that increases the scope of work, because that
for the implementation team.
Correct, because we have multiple amount of components, we have the flexibility given to the clients, but that might not be needed. We can create variations of an existing component itself. So that's where a BA can play a role, that this component, maybe you can design it in a way that it can be a part of, like, a variation of another component which is already designed, kind of. And the third phase is the implementation phase. I am sure that the documents that we talked about throughout in this call was covering that phase, that the essential documents that we create is being used end to end by the development team. But if the BA is a part of the demos that happen, if there are any misses, it is captured at the BA lens, and when it goes to the client, it should be almost perfect of what is being delivered.
Right. But then when you are basically talking of those documents for the technical team, it is about those stories which are written maybe in a system like Jira or Azure DevOps.
Correct.
Right. So technically it covers for all the details and the acceptance criteria from the client.
Absolutely.
But then there are still could be a case that something is missed out.
I think the client can be picky at times. I'm not saying that it's always the dev team who is at talk that that's something missed by the dev team only. There may be a thing that the client doesn't remember that they said that this feature they want it at a later stage. They might just come and say that this is something that we want, this is something that is missing, maybe. So if that if the BA is present, they can, provide an approval that, this is something that we would have it, but it is a part of the next release or the further releases.
So I believe this is a great point which you're talking about, because then if BA is available at each and every phase, they might be able to identify and also gauge the timeline of when a feature is going out.
Absolutely.
And talk with the client, because for example, the client might not remember that this is not a part of MVP, it's a part of phase 2.
Correct.
And they are asking it in MVP. The BA can stand up and say, you know what, I think we discussed it about not to be having an MVP, but rather a phase 2.
Yeah, and it is not about, forgetting or, a miss from the client's end, but it can be like a judgment decision also. They might not know how the tech side of things
Precisely.
work. So there should be, a person who is able to guide them that, this will be done, but this might not be a part of the existing development that we have done. It can be taken as an enhancement and we can do it later.
True. Perfect. Well, thank you for covering those topics as well. Lastly, I think I would like to cover something based on your experience, or what do you feel is kind of the highlight, overall in your current project that you are working on Sitecore?
I think the only highlight that I would like to mention on the current project, obviously it is, a huge hiccup for all of us who are working on this particular project. But
so let me stop you there. What is the team size?
I think we are at 20 as of now. Yeah. So, the huge thing that I would like to mention is that the client has, provided us with like details. They have a huge system already built in, and they want to shift to headless. And when they are sharing details about this huge system, they have multiple recordings, they have multiple documentation, they have like a systematic, like obviously not a systematic, but they have tried to templatize the things. They have used maybe more than 155 components in their current website, and more than 50 page templates. And
wow.
We are trying to give them a system which is not that tricky. They are able to, we are trying to gauge them to maybe 50 components from 150. We are shifting them to over there, and still they get the flexibility, because the requirement of that particular client is that they want to revise the pages every day maybe. So there can be a change every month or every week on their pages, and we cannot define page templates for them.
Yeah, and it's too much. I think it's too much of a hassle even for a training perspective for a content person.
Absolutely. So yes, so we are trying to give them as much information as possible, but in a like a small
package
kind of. Yes.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Urjita, and thank you for sharing the knowledge with me and with the Sitecore community. I am sure there are many people, apart from the technical background, who are looking forward for different opportunities in different verticals. And for those who are either looking for being a BA or already as a BA looking for something to do in the Sitecore world, I'm sure this is going to prove very helpful to them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And looking forward to another episode with you.
Sure. Thank you.
Cheers.